And that concludes my report on this.
Moving on, item number 9, unfinished business, resolution, repealing resolution number 1706-0088 and 1809-0101, and approving the programming of up to $29.6 million of Proposition 1A high-speed rail funding for the new low-floor light rail vehicles and related station modifications. And here to present is Brent Berniker.
Great. Good evening, Chair Kennedy and members of the board. So at the last meeting, we were asked to bring back this issue, and what we've done is we brought back the issue as to reprogram the high-speed rail Prop 1A funds to the light rail modernization fund, and also come up with some options. The issue paper is in front of you, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
All right. Are there any questions of the board?
Move it forward. Sure.
Well, we actually have cards.
Oh, you have cards?
Yes.
I'll speak after.
Okay. Mike Barnbaum. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you, President Kennedy and members of the Regional Transit District Board. I'm here to address you on light rail vehicle and station modification and modernization. The Sacramento Regional Transit District started its light rail starter line back in 1987 and procured rail cars through Siemens Transportation System. It has ever since procured cars through Construcciones Auxiliares Fidelcares, based in Spain. Most know it as CAF, and is now holding a fleet of refurbished cars from the Urban Transportation Development Corporation that were once used at the Valley Transportation Authority in Santa Clara County. These vehicles, like anything we work with on an everyday basis, whether it's our office and automation systems, personal vehicles we use, technology we use in personal or professional life, everyone wants the most modern, up-to-date thing. And regional transit deserves a modern light rail vehicle network of vehicles that are accessible to all users and not solely exclusively in the first car upon the train boarding in the platform. Many of the reasons why we see a lot of trains have maintenance that they use, and we're running one vehicle consists on Sunday and holidays. Mostly it can be pointed toward the ongoing maintenance of old vehicles, which have parts that are hard to get as vehicles age. So having a modern vehicle system for the light rail, and not exclusive just to the buses, ensures that Sacramento Regional Transit keeps up with the latest in technology and the latest in accessibility for the future of this system. So I'd be honored to second the motion by Director Harris and move this item forward to modernize the light rail vehicle fleet and the stations for low floor services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Rick Hodgkins, can we get a microphone to Rick? Rick?
Thank you, Chair Kennedy, members of the board. It's been a while since I've been here. I think it's been back in January of this year. I have a job that's normally Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., but that because I had a doctor appointment today that was late in the afternoon, I asked to skip work so I can be here, but also for the doctor appointment. When I found out about a bunch of my fellow blind citizens being here for an item that they want to speak on off the agenda, I decided to be here for that item as well as this item, as well as to talk about a previous item that was heard last week, that's which I'll talk about later. But I do support the low floor light rail vehicles as well as the station modernization and station modification if I am able to ride an adult trike or a bicycle again, this would also be good for people with bikes. The other thing that has not yet been mentioned thus far, is that when you have people with not just canes, but crutches, walkers, wheelchairs of any kind, oftentimes that they have to, and even with guide dogs, which we'll hear about with items not on the agenda, and I mean items not on the agenda later on, that they have to wait for the next train, if not the next train, if not the next train, if not the next train, because the front car is often filled up with disabled people already, and sometimes you have children, parents with children occupying the front car, the very front of that car. And so having low floor cars and light rail stations which can accommodate low floor cars will eliminate that problem, will completely and totally eliminate that problem. My question is, how will people get to the other side if they're going the opposite direction? Like if I'm on the 21, how will I get to the other side if I need to go downtown, let's say, instead of going towards Sutter Street to Folsom, if I'm at Mather Field, for example. Like I said, I have a job that's normally Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. I'm looking to get a job that's in the mornings again so I can come back to RT and give public comment on items again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Good to see you all again.
Good to see you. Delphine Cathcart.
Good evening, Chairman Kennedy and Board. My name is Delphine.
You want to pull the microphone down, Delphine? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Delphine Cathcart. I'm speaking for STAR, Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders. STAR supports staff's recommendation to program the remaining Prop A allocation entirely for modern low-floor vehicles and station modification. SAC-RT's Prop 1A allocation is not sufficient to fund all projects. Therefore, SAC-RT must be selective. The light rail modernization project is RT's highest priority. The low-floor vehicles increase accessibility, safety for riders, and create lower operating costs for RT. The light rail modernization project needs the Prop 1A money allocation. Without Prop 1A funding, the light rail modernization will be significantly delayed, resulting in cost increases and jeopardizing future funds. Therefore, STAR urges the board to approve programming of the Prop 1A funds for the new low-floor light rail vehicles and station conversions. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Stephen Barassa, sorry. Oh, Stephen.
Greetings, Stephen Barassa, Ion Sacramento. I am pleased that the staff wisely chose to focus on light rail car replacement and the station modifications to accommodate them. This is exciting seed money that is necessary for creating a new, vibrant public transit system. Light rail is the keystone to this system. It's currently serving over 40,000 daily rides. It is the backbone for intercity, countywide travel. And the new cars create exciting new ADA accessibility. Also connected with exciting first mile, last mile options. Not only the new bus network relies on light rail, but we have these exciting first mile, last mile options like the new Smart Ride system that is only going to be growing in areas needing better bus service, but also the jump line bikes and the constant growing network of bike safe corridors and pedestrian access. It's very exciting, so I urge the board to vote yes on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Director Harris.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question for Director Lee. As far as the SVS loop and the 3 funding opportunities that are coming up, do you have any kind of time frame for those?
We are working with city staff very diligently to say, when we should apply for those funds. And we notice Caltrain, CTC, just announced they're going to release or allocate up to $1 billion by the end of this year, calendar year. And we're actively preparing for some application. The good thing is that rail yard development still part of our light rail modernization project, because the light rail modernization is not just modernizing the light rail system, also expanding the system. And the state actually focuses on expanding portion. That is the leverage for us to apply for more funding. And they realized they had individual meeting with us just 2 weeks ago, encourage us to put the spending portion as a leverage point to apply for more money.
Could that also apply to the double tracking project for the Green Line?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Expanding means double tracking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, with that, Mr. Chair, I'll move the item.
I'll second it. Okay, we have a motion and a second. We also have Vice Chair Hansen who would like to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank staff for moving quickly on this. We had heard from the CTC that we were one of the last jurisdictions to not expend the Prop 1A money. And like many good things, we have to move with a sense of purpose, but I think that the biggest priority now is certainly getting the low floor cars for the reasons we heard, improving the stations. But I also just want to underscore what Jeff said, Director Harris, about the SVS loop and the abbreviated loop, or whatever it was called in the staff report, excuse me for not remembering, I think should still be a priority for RT to move our light rail station closer to the passenger depot platform, which is the ultimate vision for the SVS. So anyway, I'm happy to support this.
All right, any other comments from board members? We have a motion by Director Harris, a second by Vice Chair Hansen. I have no cards. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you very much. Thank you, staff.
Motion carries at 81 votes. The next item is public addresses the board on matters not on the agenda.
All right, we have a number of cards. First, Mr. Barnbaum.
Thank you, President Kennedy and members of the board. While the short 2-week time period since the last meeting has not resulted much in the way of meetings, but between now and the next board meeting, there are many meetings to be considered. And I wanted to inform the public and everyone in the room tonight and watching at home about 4 meetings hosted by SACOG, the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. SACOG is the metropolitan planning organization for 6 counties and 22 cities, but also serves as the regional transportation planning agency for 4 counties: Sacramento, Yolo, Yuba, and Sutter. Placer has their own regional transportation planning agency, as does El Dorado. SACOG will be hosting a series of unmet transit needs hearings throughout the 4-county area. 4 of those meetings up and coming prior to the next Regional Transit District Board meeting. We'd like folks to attend and particularly pay attention to, and if they have availability in their calendar, to make some time to attend and let their comments, concerns be heard, so SACOG can provide a comprehensive report back to their board in January. On Monday, October 28th at 2 p.m., SACOG will be hosting an unmet transit needs hearing right here in the Regional Transit Auditorium. On Wednesday, October 30th at 2 p.m., SACOG will be hosting an unmet transit needs hearing in the City Council chambers in the city of Galt. On Monday, November 4th at 6 p.m., SACOG will be hosting an unmet transit needs hearing in the City Council chambers of the city of Davis. And on Wednesday, November 6th at 6 p.m., SACOG will be hosting an unmet transit needs hearing in the City Council chambers of the city of Elk Grove. So if anybody would like to attend any one, all four of, or any combination of those, we have mentioned them now in the public record. And if you have any questions about those upcoming four unmet transit needs hearings, I will remain in the room until the meeting adjourns this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Before I call the next part, we do have a portable microphone, so when I call your name, if you would prefer to have a microphone brought to you, if it's easier for you, just raise your hand and we'll take care of that. Next is Margie Donovan. There we go.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Margie Donovan. I live in Folsom, and I'm here to talk about light rail and pets and ill-behaved dogs. As you well know, approximately 2 years ago, we had a friend whose guide dog was attacked on light rail. Now we have another friend whose guide dog would have been attacked on light rail had she not backed down and got off the train and waited 30 minutes for the next car. This is a very serious issue. And I think, I just want to say Janice is phenomenal. She does everything she can to move things forward. And I very much enjoy working with her, but the board really needs to take a serious look at this and what needs to be done. Especially in this most recent incident, there was an officer right there, didn't do a thing. It was 2 pet dogs up on a seat. Is it going to take one of our dogs that cost $80,000 to be attacked, killed, and sue you guys? Is that what it's going to take? These dogs are $80,000, and it takes us a month to train with them and about a year to replace them. It's not like going out and buying a new car. And if you want people off of paratransit in this valley, make us safe on light rail with our service animals. That's the only way you're going to get us off of paratransit. Frankly, we prefer to use public transit. It's more dependable. But when we are scared like this and have to wait for another train, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable that RT police doesn't respond when they're called. So I'm asking the board to take this to another level and look very seriously at all the pets that are on light rail. Yes, we are reconvening the task force. Thank you, Janice, for that, and other members, and Shannon and I will serve on that again. But I think this needs to be brought up a little bit higher with our recommendations, and enforcement needs to be the key here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margie. Appreciate it. Mr. Lee, can you and I meet on that after this meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Shannon Dillon.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Shannon Dillon. Thank you so much for hearing my comments. And Janice has been wonderful to work with. We worked together on the previous incident. So I want to say that I was with the person who tried to get on light rail and felt like she had to back off because of the barking dog that she had to walk directly past in order to get on the train. The dog was on the same side of the dog was next to her dog as she got on the train, and she felt like the only safe option was to back off. We need to find another alternative we need to do further work on what to do with people bringing their pets on, or even poorly behaved service dogs. Whatever it is, there needs to be work on the behavior of animals and who gets on the train with animals. I do commute regularly on light rail. Unfortunately, I'm surrounded by generally by a group of friends, and so I get warning when there are dogs coming on, but there are still dogs getting on light rail all the time, and with no indication that they're service dogs, and absolutely nothing that really indicates that anyone's asking them whether they are a service dog. and they're not in their carriers. And the other thing is, we need to know how to report it. When the incident happened a couple of weeks ago with the person who got off the train, we stood with her for another 30 minutes while we waited for our next train, and I used the Alert Sac RT app and clicked the button that says contact RT police or something like that. Clicked the button right there in the app and got a person who had no clue what to do. And so I want to know that the next time I call in with an incident, they're going to know what to do, or tell me who to contact that does know what to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shannon.
Thank you.
Rick Hodgkins?
Thanks. I was hoping to go last on this issue, but first I wanted to talk about my so-called support for bringing paratransit in-house. My concern is the continuous use of taxis if there are not enough buses and or drivers, because I could see where I live having to use paratransit to get to, like, for example, Raging Waters during the summer, which opens up at 11 o'clock, and paratransit getting me there like at 9:30 at Cal Expo. I could see, having to leave early if there's a shared ride. But if they're sending a taxi and the taxi is getting me there early, then dispatch needs to probably relook at that trip. Now to the other reason why I came here, besides the light rail, low floor car and station modernization and modification, now to the guide dog issue. I thought that this was resolved 2 years ago. I want to note and report to the board and to the public that there are 2 other people with disabilities besides the blind that use service animals. You have people with autism that use service dogs. You have people that are deaf that use service dogs for their reasons. I can't remember offhand what those reasons are. Now, emotional support animals, the people that use dogs for emotional support, they don't have particularly specific disabilities that qualify underneath the ADA. What some people will do is they will go online to fake, like, snake oil websites, and they'll download fake certificates. They'll go and they'll get a fake harness and a fake vest to put on the dog and whatnot. I know I hear on the PA system that the pets and emotional support dogs must be in a carrying cage or cage, and I heard in the past that that the cage must be small enough to fit on a person's lap. Well, what if the dog is so big that it cannot fit on a person's lap? In that case, perhaps if the dog is too big to fit, if the cage is too big, if it's too big to fit on a person's lap, then maybe the cage needs to be on rollers or wheels. I mean, if I was in Shannon's place and the RT police said, well, I don't know what to do about it, I would explain the situation again, and then I would have to tell the officer, do you want me to draw you a picture? This person's dog almost got attacked. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jean Marie Moore.
I know. God, I haven't said a word yet. Good evening. Thank you very much for hearing what we have to say. My name is Jean Marie Moore, and I've lived in Sacramento a couple of months now. When I was in Eugene, we had similar things happen on buses and on the EMX routes that are established there. And there's only one question under the ADA that someone can ask, and that is I know one for sure. What service does this dog provide for you? What task does this dog do for you? And we had lots of different meetings, but it is true, there's a direct relationship between the safety of people who use dog guides and other service animals and on buses and EMX and paratransit. And I can tell you right now, if you want people not to use paratransit, you want to encourage public transportation use, then this absolutely has to be resolved because, and it can apply to an aggressive dog guide. I had one dog who ended up being returned to the school who went after my dog, and that dog was brought very quickly under control. It's a very serious issue. My dog was one of my dogs was not attacked on light rail, but was attacked, and I can tell you right now, it makes an impact that you just will never understand. And we were taught in guide dog school, if there's a barking dog that's right by where you are, presume that's an aggressive dog. Don't try to walk past it. So apparently this person on the light rail train did everything they could, and they got very little support apparently from light rail staff, and that's really too bad. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooklyn Kelly?
Hi. So we were here 2 years ago with that issue. That person happened to be my husband. Here we are now, 2 years later, and it's me. I see all too well what can happen when a guide dog gets attacked on light rail by another dog. When I got on the train this time around, I just kept seeing my dog being, in a position of danger, and that can end my dog's career instantly. And a lot of people don't realize that. It can change in 1 second. And so I'm urging you guys to please take action so that this doesn't happen again. What can we do to help you to take action? How do we provide you guys with what you need? And what it just needs to be, we need more support out there. I love public transit. I love taking public transit. I take it every day. And the idea that I had to get off the train and wait 45 minutes for a new train in the dark. Luckily, I had friends with me that actually were willing to stay with me. That's not the case usually. Usually we're out there traveling on our own. That's clearly very unsafe. And the response that RT gave me was unsatisfactory. Please take a look at the issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as you all know, when something is not on the agenda, we are limited as to how we can address it. But you asked how you can help, and your being here tonight is impactful, powerful, and very helpful. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Jeffrey Tardigia. Yes.
Mr. Chair, just, no, I know I can't take any action. I know you indicated you wanted to meet after this with the general manager. I would just say that we did hear this 2 years ago and from some of the same parties, and obviously we made some attempts to address this. You can't address every situation, but I do think that this warrants, some real close attention. If it didn't get the last time, I trust it did, but get real close attention. I trust you as board chair will make sure it gets attended to.
That is my intention. Thank you, sir. Jeffrey Tardigia.
Greetings, board. On this item, for both buses, for both transit ambassadors, as well as other things, you need to figure out another training class, because I will also offer as regards to using the ramp and the other things for disability. There needs to be a re-emphasis on these type of things and concerns. Also, the reporting. How many times, and this is something that the board maybe needs to look at, is seeing how many times you have incidences of dealing with people waiting, also dealing with the late hours of, where your resources are allocated at. Now I'll jump to the next subject. Next subject is, I appreciate and want to thank RT for bringing down the signs that for the shame that you are hiring So we now see what buses are, what routes, and what's going on through there. There are adjustments that need to be made. Particularly, you need to look at your stops. I think you guys need to, as a board, need to find out exactly how many bus stops were replaced, because clearly this was not revenue neutral. There was quite a bit of cost, and I think you ought to see a review or a report about just what it cost you this last month to get to this new system. There's good things and there's bad things to hear through. I hear you also have 40 new bulletin boards, but are we only to 3 people that can know how to repair them, fix them, program them? Because some of them have been put up, but a lot of them, again, we are back to where last year or this year, January, February, when Roger was here, that had to replace 40 bulletin boards because 2 of them were damaged and the rest had major problems. You now have a new sort, and a number of them are still not doing their job. In other words, all it is a sign up through there. Today, we had a number of bus stop locations. Another thing you ought to find out is just exactly how often is there only one train running on the weekends. In other words, it's a one single car that's running on Sunday, and is there 2 or whatever is running on Saturday? You may learn some patterns and other things. I will respectfully suggest that you guys need to get out there. It's October. Get out there and ride the system and see what else is going on and happening. I'd like to work with someone, Henry, on 11 and 13 and see what we can do about increasing the ridership on there. Because I do suspect that we're going to find January, February of next year that we've got more than 100,000 less riders on the system.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Roger Oberholzer.
So thank you for hearing us, and I want to say, to go with the positive aspect, at least we have now an announcement that makes people aware that, it's service dogs that are supposed to be on leash and with us on light rail. But it also mentions how the dogs that are not should be transported on light rail. And I don't want to rehash what my friend said, Margie Brooklyn, and my wife Shannon, but I was there also that evening, and what really concerned me is when Shannon called that officer, he acted like he had no clue. She actually disclosed that we happened to be blind, and she disclosed to him the time, and he was like, what was the light rail number? And we told him, we're at Iron Point Station. How are we going to know which, it's not on the schedule, which light rail number it is? Can you look it maybe up? Because you should see at the time of the incident which light rail car it was, because we wanted to make sure that that dog is being taken off and can't hurt other people. He really acted like he had no clue of how to look up that rail number. And this is a real safety issue. Like if you have someone on that light rail that's threatening other passengers or something, the police officer, and by the way, he didn't go by officer, blah, blah name, he went by first name. And that's really concerning too. Are these like just dispatchers or are these actual RT police officers? What's going on here? And he said that Shannon could call back the next day and talk to his supervisor. And he promised that their supervisor would call her. I don't think that call ever happened. So the thing is, there needs to be seriously this issue addressed, that whoever the officer is that takes this call has immediately access to all the rail lines and sees which numbers are there, because the person might be hurt. He might be in a position where he needs to contact the driver of this vehicle and so forth. I mean, this is a serious safety issue. You could have nowadays people with all kinds of sorts of knives or weapons on there, and there needs to be immediate action being taken. I mean, this was a horrendous thing. I can't even believe this happened to this extent. And not all people will be in a situation where we are in a situation where we're very knowledgeable about the use of our cell phones and how to work with assistive technology. But there needs to be a situation addressed also, what if people can't do that? But we were in a situation where we gave him as much information as we could, and this officer was completely incompetent. So at the minimum, I hope that he's being retrained, and this issue is also being addressed in regards to safety for all passengers, but especially for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. I have one last card, James Worsnop.
I'd like to thank the board again for allowing me to talk for a couple of minutes.
We actually have 3 this time.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to come back if I can, if I could be put on the agenda. Again, it's a very serious issue that I don't think the board fully comprehends. I talked to one board member today, and she said, well, it sounds like it's a personnel issue, that sour grapes or something because they didn't hire me as a real estate manager. That is not the case. The case is misspending federal, state, and local money, which I was privy. I saw some of the transactions that happened, and the board has a moral and a fiduciary duty to oversee the management of SAC-RT and to make changes and improvements if need be. The SAC-RT management does really not know, in my opinion, what they need to do from a real estate standpoint. They've been selling these properties, which in my opinion they shouldn't be doing because of a fire sale. They've had to do it to offset some of the cost. They don't understand that half those costs have to go back to the feds also. So it's basically misspending, bad real estate deals, incompetent, inept real estate professionals that they hire. But the problem is it affects federal, state, and local funding and the taxpayers' money. So I'd be very happy to come back and get into more detail if you need more detail and to answer questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Can I have a second?
Yes, Mr. Lee.
First, I want to thank Mr. Wassop for your 2.5 months temporary service in our real estate department about a year ago. And we hire temporary employees all the time for the gap between the hiring. And also understand you are very interested in continuing working for SAC-RT, but SAC-RT has a very strict, very good, very fair, open, transparent hiring process. Each year we open up about 200 positions, over 2,000 applicants, and we love, if you feel any positions you feel you are qualified, you are more than welcome to apply. And I can guarantee you the application process, the hiring process is fair and open and transparent.
Well, I appreciate that, Henry. You hired someone that didn't have any real estate background or experience, is not licensed.
I got it. Mr. Warsaw, we're not gonna. We're not gonna go back and forth. We're not gonna get into a argument debate setting here.
Well, I don't like people to spin things that are incorrect.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's our last card. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to address the board on something that's not on the agenda at this time? Thank you very much, and I really appreciate everybody who took the time and effort to be out here this evening.
He raised his hand.
We have a hand? Where?
Mr. Hodgkins already spoke.
Rick already spoke.
I just wanted to say that people with seizure epilepsy, people with diabetes also.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, that is the last card. Next item, please.
Item number 10, new business, resolution, delegating authority to the general manager, CEO, to submit a proposal in response to the request for proposals for turnkey operation and maintenance of public fixed route and dial-a-ride services issued by the South County Transit System and to certify on behalf of the Board of Directors that the proposal meets all applicable requirements of the Federal Transit Administration. And here to present is Doug Cook.
Good evening, members of the board, Chair Kennedy. I want to digress back to my answer for Director Howell. On the 450 issue, the F-450, that is correct. They had to redesign the whole engine compartment, the engine, and the electronics to get it to be able to pass the emissions test. So right now they're about $35,000, $40,000 more. A CNG kit on those now runs about $60,000 more.
Ford is being creative, I guess.
And also there's a lack of supply of the parts for those vehicles right now.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Well, good evening. I'm here to talk to you about the bidding for South County Link Transportation Services. I'm here to give you a quick overview why staff believes that the bid for this contract of South County Services is vital to the Sacramento County area. South County Transit System is currently providing the following public transit services within the South County area. They operate a dial-a-ride in the city of Galt, 99 Express, which is between Lodi, Galt, and Sacramento, Delta Route, which provides service from Isleton to Galt, Commuter Express route that is direct service from Galt to downtown Sacramento. With SACRT newly expanded areas, bidding on this contract would open up innovative solutions for the residents of Sacramento County. This could provide seamless transportation options to and from the far south end of the county in the future. This could also save money on duplication of operation and management processes across the county, which would add efficiencies that money could be used to enhance service to the affected communities. If SACRT is successful in acquiring South County Link services, SACRT comes even closer to becoming a true regional provider. This can open up an array of possibilities in the transportation realm for the region. SACRT staff has experience being able to tie communities across the region together by providing safe and convenient service like regional paratransit, smart ride, express buses, and line service, and other multimodal experiences working with our stakeholders. SACRT staff does recommend approval of this action.
Great. Thank you very much. Director Natoli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doug, thanks for your presentation. Obviously, we had the written information. I would just say that as we consider submitting a response to your proposal or request for proposals, I want to be sure that we maintain some focus. I appreciate the regional context and certainly transportation alternatives. I would just say that over the years, and certainly my years on the board, but certainly having worked with transit providers, whoever they may have been over the time in the South County, that service under, and I think Mike Barton spoke to earlier, we've gone through a number of unmet needs hearings over the years, and again with limited funding in a lot of cases, have been able to and have attempted to and been able to in many cases to address some gaps in service. And it's very important, as I think you look at certainly the request for proposal, to keep in mind that in addition to the intercity, that the intracity and the intra-community connectivity is really, really important, and that the linkage here would be to transit providers both in San Joaquin and Lodi, San Joaquin County and Lodi, but also in Solano County with the Rio Vista service there, the Breeze, and obviously with RT mainstream service, both light rail, obviously with bus service in the city of Elk Grove and adjoining areas. So I guess I would just encourage us to keep in mind as we're looking at this, the nature and makeup of those communities, that yes, you have the pods of population, but you also have a lot of distances in between, rural roads in lots of cases, and a lot of miles in between stops. And that's really important, though, to folks who not only depend upon it for commuter service, but also for lifeline services, to doctor's appointments, and to other medical appointments, but certainly to other opportunities for entertainment, for visiting, and certainly for work throughout the Sacramento metropolitan area. So again, it's an area that historically RT hasn't served, that you're going to enter into this, and I certainly would be supportive of the item here this evening that allows the general manager, working obviously with you, Doug, and others, to submit a proposal. But I would just encourage us to keep all those things in mind as we seek to potentially compete for this service.
Thank you, Director Natoli.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board comments? Director Howell?
I'll move the item.
Well, we actually have public comment.
Okay.
So no other questions from the board. Okay, Mike Barnbaum.
Thank you, President Kennedy and members of the board, staff, and viewers at home and fellow riders. Mike Barnbaum, this item we're speaking about the South County Transit Link application and bid for public transit service. Following successes in annexation of Citrus Heights, Folsom, the process to begin getting paratransit service in-house and beginning contract public transit operations for the E-Trans service. This is a very logical next step. As you have seen in the Fly SAC RT project and route proposals, Route 99 is in that report, and that was partially put in there with everything else that was put in there, independent of not knowing this item was going to come to the agenda so quickly. So as part of the Fly SAC-RT service expansion to SAC-RT Forward, thank you to staff who have very much looked into that, from scheduling Kevin Addington, the planning James and James, marketing, communications, outreach, the executive management team, and our operations team led by Doug Cook. Thank you for looking at that report. The service is key, as SAC-RT Forward has stated, that local bus routes operate 7 days a week. And as you could imagine, that currently one of the unmet needs of Route 99 is that, number one, it's a cutaway bus. It's not a full 40-foot bus. And number two, it only operates 5 days a week. And as the link between the Sacramento Regional Transit District and Donna DiMartino's San Joaquin Regional Transit District, it is absent of providing that link on weekends and holidays. It only operates weekdays and not much past 7 or 8 p.m. So having the ability to go forward and bid on this, and hopefully it can also be mentioned at the October 30th hearing in Galt, if not at the October 28th hearing in this auditorium. This is going to be a key pickup for this district to better link riders with San Joaquin Regional Transit and the San Joaquin train line at the Lodi Intermodal Station. So with that, Director Howell, I'd be happy to second your motion.
Just a clarification, that's your second tonight.
Thank Jeffrey Tardigia.
No, I just wanted to clarify, Mike, you keep referring to bids, and this is not actually a bid, this is a response to a request for proposal. Those are different things, so. Thank you. You're welcome.
I will say to this board, you have a multiple task and very short time to do all of these things, put them together. My concern is how you have dispatch of RT. Multiple dispatchers respond to the multiple tasks that you are now putting in front of them. I got familiar with this south corridor at Florin Avenue through there, but other than that, and when it used to be many years ago in the book, you have to only find it on the website to get any clue about where South Transportation System really does and work and everything else. So hopefully I will see how you include it in the website, just like the E-Tran and just like the Folsom system, and see how well the people can communicate across all of them.
Thank you very much. That's the last card I have. Is there any more comments or questions from the board? Otherwise, we do have a motion from Director Howell. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second from Director Hume. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Motion carries at 81 votes. The next item, item number 11, the General Manager's Report.
Good evening again, Chair, board members, and public. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to ask our VP of Planning and Engineering, Laura Ham, to provide an update on all the behind-the-scenes work we are doing to prepare for a successfully operating ADA paratransit service in-house and responding to any questions about the transition. Laura?
Good evening, Chair Kennedy and directors. I'll just give you a quick update regarding the preparation of ADA paratransit service. We did send the formal termination notice to Paratransit Inc. with the transition being effective March 29th, 2020. That's a Sunday. And I wanted to let you know that since the last meeting, many SAC-RT departments have been meeting and coordinating on various issues to make sure we're covering all aspects related to the transition. I also wanted to relay our thanks to Director Hume, the Paratransit Board Chair, who is assisting us with negotiations to ensure that they go smoothly and that the transition is seamless. We appreciate your strong leadership on that effort. We have also worked to expedite the purchase of 40 new vehicles, which you approved tonight. Thank you for that. And we have an additional 40 vehicles that were recently delivered to the SAC-RT campus, so we'll have 80 brand new vehicles ready to deploy in paratransit operations. We'll be scheduling a meeting with the MAC leadership in the near future to talk about increasing their influence as we prepare for the launch of ADA paratransit service. And in your packet tonight, we provided a Q&A document. We sent a letter to the over 5,000 currently eligible paratransit riders to explain the transition. We provided them with that document. We wanted to assure passengers that all of the rider policies will stay the same. Those are approved by the RT board with input from the Mobility Advisory Council. That includes our 1 to 2 day ahead call-in window for reservations, our zero trip denial policy, our fare policy, as well as our door-to-door or origin-to-destination policy. All of those will remain the same as they are today, as is explained in the Q&A. In addition, customers asked if there would be paratransit service to the airport. As you know, RT is going to be launching a bus route to the airport early next year, so we will provide complimentary paratransit service in support of that route as well. So we'll be glad to offer that service. And as we get closer to the launch date, we'll make more information available about how ADA and non-ADA demand response service will be integrated, as well as travel training. We want to assure our customers that the federally mandated ADA paratransit service will always be available and to certified individuals who are functionally unable to use the bus and light rail system. I think when we talked about encouraging the use of fixed route, it may have created some confusion that the ADA paratransit service is not going away. So if there are any additional questions that you hear through your constituents, please feel free to relay them to us. We'd be happy to provide assistance. The SAC-RT Accessible Services Department is our main point of contact for any customer questions, and we will be putting that in all the communication that's going out to our riders as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Ms. Ham? Thank you.
Yes, I think come back to me again.
Yes.
Thanks, Laura. And again, thanks to Director Hume, Vice Chair Hansen, and Chair Kennedy for, providing a strong guidance and leadership to make sure this transition is smoothly as possible. Like Mr. Chairman of PI said, we want to make this transition quieter and quicker. That theme is a very strong voice and guidance to all of us. Last week, SAC-RT hosted a wonderful press conference at McClatchy High School as we launched our free ride program for students. This is a tremendous program that is unmatched nationwide. We're the first transit agency provide totally, system-wide service, free service for students, over 200,000. We have already had a number of transit agencies reach out to us to ask how we turned the vision into a reality. Average 2 transit agencies per day reached out to us. I would like to thank the board for championing this effort, and a big thanks to Director Chenier for his leadership in this particular program. This is a special program that will make a huge difference in our community in improving school attendance, reducing congestion, and providing newfound mobility freedom for our youth. While it is still very preliminary, our initial analysis of this program last week has shown a 40% increase in student ridership, 40%. And this is very encouraging, from beginning. I would like to take a minute to share a quick video and some photos from the press conference last week. Then I will move on to another press conference.
Students, parents, and guardians getting a lift with driving duty. Today, Sac Regional Transit and Capital City leaders started a brand new program in hopes of getting more kids to school on time. Ride Free RT. It's a brand new program that means kids from kindergarten through 12th grade can ride the bus or light rail around Sacramento County 7 days a week, all day long, absolutely free. This history-making program is the first of its kind in the country. Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg is excited to empower the youth.
This means that kids from all neighborhoods who can't afford a car can get to any part of the city. This is powerful.
Sacramento City Council member Jay Chenier has worked on this project with RT for more than 8 years just to make it a reality. He calls it a game changer for the capital city.
I think this is a great day for Sacramento youth. What we're doing is really removing barriers to their success. So kids will be able to get to school, get to work, get to whatever activities they want that are safe and good for them, free, anytime, anywhere.
Any student between transitional kindergarten and 12th grade is eligible to get this blue sticker right here on their ID card, which enables them to ride for free.
It's a big day for Sacramento, becoming the first city in the nation to offer free public transportation to all K-12 students. Officials estimate 100,000 more students will now be able to get around town more easily, and they hope the new program inspires a shift in the way the next generation thinks about transportation.
When those riders know that they're going to get on a bus and it's going to take them where they're going to go. They're going to get on a modern light rail system and it's going to take them where they want to go. That gets ingrained in who they are. It becomes a part of our youth's DNA.
Youth in Sacramento, I encourage you to use light rail. This opportunity doesn't come for many students out there in the U.S. And the fact that the city has worked so hard to get us this opportunity means we need to be taking advantages of things like this and using RT and riding often.
Thank you. Early this morning, we host. Okay, for legal reason, we cannot show the face of those kids. And the first day, we had 70 kids in one bus.
So we want to make it clear that RT does not have facial recognition.
Yes, ma'am.
And does the bus actually hold 70 children at once?
Yes, they can hold up to 80 people.
Okay.
Yes. We did not pack them, And we host a press conference to celebrate the light rail station naming partnership with UC Davis Health this morning. We were very pleased to be joined by Chair Kennedy and Director Harris this morning. And this is Sac County's first revenue-generating light rail station naming partnership. UC Davis Health has been a Sac County partner for many years, providing free shuttle service to and from 39th Street Station to the medical campus. Because of this ongoing long-standing partnership and a strong tie to the region, Sac County Board adopted to change the name of 39th Street Station earlier this year, and we are hopeful the similar station naming partnerships will materialize in the near future. So to conclude my report, I would like to take a minute to introduce a few new faces to the board. SACRT recently hired some new staff that are in critical positions, and which will help elevate this agency to new heights. I first would like to introduce our new budget director, Jason Johnson. Jason, show your face. Where's you?
He left a little earlier. He was here earlier to give the award to Nadia.
He didn't budget his time correctly.
So,
sorry.
It's a good start, Jason.
He's a great guy.
He comes to us with over 17 years experience working for the city of Rockland, most recently as the budget and the technology director. And he will play a critical role for the district as we pursue future grant funding from the state and federal governments. But he still has a huge challenge ahead of him because in the past 5 years or several years, we won an award from the APTA or from the Government Finance Office Association, which is a huge organization, give us the award of the budget every year. We also welcome Geoffrey Barrage. Geoffrey? Okay, stand up, please. And he SACRT's senior community relation officer. He was previously the assistant deputy director for legislation and finance at the California Transportation Commission, very important organization to RT, and brings more than 8 years of experience in transportation and finance. He currently is a member of Sacramento County Public Health Advisory Board and Board of Directors of Heritage Community Credit Union and other boards. As you know, the CTC and Caltrans allocate billions of transportation funding to statewide agencies annually. And Geoffrey's inside connections and leadership role in the CTC hopefully will help SACRT to secure more state funding in the future.
Could you be more subtle, Henry?
Yeah, no pressure, Henry.
You got your marching orders.
And since more than half of SACRT's funding comes from state sources, so this is so important. And you want to say a few words?
Oh, no, just for the record, there's no conflict of interest between my previous employer, the California Transportation Commission, but Henry did make an amazing invitation to take my talents back home here to Sacramento. So I'm very grateful to be here and look forward to working with each and every one of you and to find any innovative financing opportunities that we can have so that we can continue moving SACRT forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you and welcome.
Mr. Chair, I just want to compliment him on his pocket square. You've already upped our fashion game immediately.
Thank you. Just following big footsteps from Henry Lee and, of course, to you, Mr. Hansen. Thank you so much.
You're going to do well.
And to you too, Chair Kennedy. I appreciate it.
And we have a familiar face that is returning to SACRT, Captain Lisa Hand. Lisa. As you guys know, Captain Hand served as SACRT's VP of Security as a contractor. Prior to leaving for a new assignment by the City of Sacramento Police Department 2 years ago, or a year ago. And prior to that, she was a VP of Security of RT, a contract employee. Now we're excited to welcome her back to the SACRT family as a permanent employee. So she's not City of Sacramento employee anymore. And she will serve as a Vice President of Security, Safety, and Customer Satisfaction position here in SACRT. She is extremely passionate about customer service. She actually prepared a long speaking note about the dog and the pet issue, and I said, this is not the right time to speak today. And she will get a chance to speak in the future. And we are delighted to welcome her back. And finally, I would like to welcome Sandy Bobeck. Sandy? Sandy is SACRT's Assistant Vice President of Technology, Innovation, and Performance Monitoring. She comes with over 27 years of IT experience, most recently serving as the Chief Information Officer at San Diego MTS, or San Diego SACRT, San Diego RT. In her position, Sandy will provide vision and strategy over information technology, develop and support best-in-class innovative solutions to improve SACRT's internal business process and enhance the customer service, and leverage technology to monitor and automate the generation of performance metrics at all levels in the organization to make SACRT more transparent and accountable. And thank you, Sandy. And all these positions are replacement positions, are not new positions, and they are vacancies. While we're trying to run this great agency in the most cost-effective way, right now our EMT leadership team actually reduced from 7 to 5 compared to the past practices. And then this concludes my report, and I would like happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the Board of Henry? We do have one public speaking request, and that's Jeffrey Tartagia.
Patrick, Board, I guess I'll start with the last in that I hope our new IT representative that apparently is replacement of Roger that was the IT exec, that we will continue with the projects that were introduced at the should we say, Citizens Academy, because he talked about the upgradings of communications and the many other upgrades that need to perform. Hopefully we'll hear when the should we say, light rail vehicles will have a Connect card inside them, as well as the GPS utilization and Wi-Fi service available. But I also want to go back to and say is 40 years ago, how I got started with transportation was indeed what used to be the 24 line and what we know as the 1 line to get to American River College, when it was only gravel fields. So it is ironic to see again the reminder that we look at seeing how our students can learn about public transportation. Paratransit. I'm in transition. So I didn't receive any notice about any of the changes via the electronic, and I wonder how many other people did not receive notices about this changeover, because my service officially ended in August, and I have not yet renewed Paratransit's basic service at this time. So I just wonder how many people, currently disappear each month from Paratransit's eligibility list and what happened with those over the last 6 months. I just raised that question to the board because, again, because I am not yet gone to a doctor and get that certification through there, it's not been turned in and renewed to go back and use Paratransit ride service. I will also offer in there that I don't want to say confident, or should we say hoping, that there's going to be a minimum of at least 3 or more dispatchers. And the reason for that service is you need a dispatch to talk to the rider, you need a dispatch to talk to the driver, and somebody needs to monitoring where the whole system is residing at, running and doing. Otherwise, there ends up where communication gets lost and confusion occurs. This has happened repeatedly with Paratransit, and you are now taking on brand new when you haven't. I'm confident that you can deliver the service. I don't know that dispatch and reservations, especially when you're talking about in March, that you're going to be able to take over the load to do that. I just bring that up. We will see how the other things, and since smart technology has got a lot of people that don't know how to run it, I think you're going to have fun.
Thank you very much. That's the last card I have. Are there any comments or ideas of the board before we go into closed session? Nope. Then we will adjourn into closed session.
Chair Kennedy, if I could read closed session
Yes.
for the public, please. Conference with legal counsel, case of Isaiah White on behalf of himself and all others similarly situated versus Sacramento Regional Transit. Thank you.
Did you understand or any